and I am Sergeant DeLeon, retired 2014, advocating for myself because I am being medically neglected through the Veterans Health Administration as a whole. I've been fighting for myself to get treatment for a TBI, which I was sustained with in Iraq dealing with IEDs in combat. Um, Not much of a heroic situation, but nonetheless injured. And so I am depending on the federal government, which is basically benefits. It's a pension for being disabled through the Veterans Health Administration, and that's my job. So I depend on that that monies, that those benefits to take care of my health and my family. That's what I do for a living now. Now, um, the disability I have is quite severe. Um, it's as I said, it uh, it has the critical effect of being severe because of the nature of the dysfunction I have. But the act of actually getting the sustaining the injury was not, as I said, heroic. I didn't jump over a wall and get blown up and save my entire platoon and all. That didn't happen. It was much less than that, but it was a combat injury, and ironically, the injury to my head, which is TBI, has really turned out to be a unique and unusual, critical disability. It 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 it, it has a behavior of dealing with my central nervous system, and it's sort of like a multiple sclerosis in a way. It mimics it. It has something to do with demyelination, they say. The cells that are injured in my head are very specific, and now there's no turning back on it. So it's literally getting rid of motor function across my body. And currently, I have, I think, around 85 to 90% motor dysfunction, fine motor dysfunction. Will it kill me? Absolutely. Um, it's just a matter of time. But I started experiencing the motor dysfunction around 211-ish. I got stateside from my tour in Iraq, 2010, April. And after that, I was trying to sustain myself, get myself some work. So I started working with the Homeland Security, with the Border Patrol, with the National Guard. And that's when I started to have problems with motor function. So, I went from there. So now, I am dealing with about 85 to 90% motor dysfunction across my body. That means eye movements, neck movement. You can see my face movement as though I had a stroke, but I didn't. It's motor function. Neck and legs don't work. My legs are the first things to go. They don't work. They do respond to the electrical sort of. If you were to push, in other words, if you were to push me off my wheelchair, my legs will move to want to protect, but it's sort of a fight or flight response movement. I can't control anything. I can't move it. I can't push off with it. It goes to want to save me, but other than that, it's just all electrical. It doesn't work. So here I am, Orvelli. I'm an everyday person now, citizen. I rock on. I do what I need to do, um, and I do the best I can every single day with what I got. Um, it's been very difficult. As I said, I've been fighting for myself for 10 years, but more or less 8 years straight as I started to lose my motor function. Okay. So the manifestation of the motor dysfunction started in the movement, then it became very complicated in my records of how and when and why and well, what happened. We can't figure it out. So that's where I am. That can is being kicked down the road medically, and I'm stuck in this purgatory of, I'm a liar, I'm a faker. Well, it's got to be something else. We don't see I must have gotten at least 20 MRIs in my head. Well, we don't see it. Yeah, well, you don't see other people's TBIs either. So, um, so yeah, I've been fighting it, and I've been trying to shorten the distance between resolving it, and this is one of them. So if you received a friend request from me, thank you for accepting it. I've been trying to widen my audience a bit so that way I can have some help, get some ideas from everyone to see how I can deal with this. So, but today I wanted to point out. Let me grab this thing. I was working on my truck. This is the Duke. I call it the Duke. It's my 2014 Silverado 1500. It's a crew cab, extended crew cab, 6 foot bed, and it's pretty cool. I've been enjoying it, but I guess at this point I'm unable to drive. Um, I have my neck doesn't only move so far, my eyes, and so I am not supposed to be driving the vehicle. So I work on the vehicle. I do drive it. I go to the store if I need emergency. We've had family emergency. I was able to drive because I have my arms are my right arm, which is here, very dysfunctional. But I have it's complicated, and uh, so I have a driving mechanism in my truck to well, do the best I can. So what I've been working on is this wheelchair I have, which is my VA wheelchair they give me. Thank you much, VA. It I couldn't get a lift for it because the weight of the wheelchair and what they were able to get. Uh, I was told I couldn't. I couldn't. There wasn't anything to help me out with that, and I just I've pretty much given up on fighting them and arguing with them about things that are supposed to benefit me, much less advocating for myself to get a diagnosis of a TBI, which I have not gotten, and move on with trying to get the benefits for it and the proper medical treatment. And it's like I said, it's been 10 years, 8 years, and I've definitely gotten worse. So it's definitely a medical neglect, medical malfeasance, all sorts of that stuff. So, but today I have bought a crane lift, and there's the crane lift here. You can see it's a heavy duty type, 500 to 1,000 pounds. Um, it's made to be able to fit on the side of the vehicle here, or this side, right or left vehicle, right? Snug in where the wheel well is supposed, is. And it came with some brackets um, that you can put on the bottom of the truck and, you know, screw this thing in and have it work. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. So I wanted to film it while I was doing it, but it gets extremely boring because I have to do everything is so slow that it's frustrating, and so it's no fun. And I only have so much to say, so I filmed the end of it, so it didn't work out for me. It did bend. part of the truck down here. I put it in once or twice. The first time I used what they told me to use, and it bent the bed down, and so I needed more support. So I ended up getting some steel brackets I made and drilled some holes in them and put them on top, and that still didn't work. So um, so now I I'm got to go to Plan B. And the problem with it is a weight issue. Um, as the VA said, they don't have anything to lift it, right? But I think the biggest problem is the weight problem with support. So the support, it needs to have support underneath the vehicle to uh, uh, to hold it down and not be able to bend any of the truck. It has to have some sort of bracket support that's welded more than likely to the bottom of the found the uh, the foundation of the truck, not just the bed of the truck, but something that is steel and heavy duty that is not going to bend. So the structure of the truck, it needs to be welded there, and I'm just not going to do all that. So this was about $100 for the crane. So I'm not out that much, but I'm going to sell it and start over. I am now looking at maybe getting the this hitch sort of type of um, lift that is much more heavy duty, that deals with a winch sort of type thing. Yeah, so that's what I do, people. That's what I do. It's very difficult for me to, as I said, to do all this. Um, not easy, not easy, and with the lack of movement and energy, it's it's uh, it's very undescribable about how I go about my day. But anyhow, um, so that's what I've been working on, um, and so now I'm moving to Plan B with it. Plan B, folks, Plan B. And so here is as I said, here is the new, pretty cool truck. I've really enjoyed it, and now I am going to do a Plan B attack on my truck to see what's going on with it. But I do these posts. I do these posts to try to get some attention, to get some help from folks. And at the moment, I want to try to contact some media folks. Like I watch Newsmax. Newsmax is a fantastic news outlet. I definitely watch them. Uh, Fox News sometimes, OAN. I'm definitely a right wing sort of type of person, and but yeah, I've been trying to contact some of these people so I can get some attention with my issue, because it's definitely a unprecedented uh, um, uh, issue that I have with the Veterans Administration not being able, not even that issue. They're just not wanting to treat me for a very critical matter. They are wanting to treat just the symptoms of my case and not the root cause of what's going on. I do have proof of some of the injury to my head from Iraq, and I'm very disappointed in the matter of which no one in the Veterans Health Administration has followed up with trying to forward my situation to get the assistance I need. Follow up, people. Follow through with it. Right. It has been very eye opening to to uh, uh, to experience the neglect that I have well, I have been dealing with the Veterans Health Administration. I just would not think in any moment, in any time, that someone would be dealing with what I'm dealing with. You know, the neglect, the malfeasance, the I mean, it is very straight in your face. So I'm having a lot of problems with it, much less the typical everyday um, ailments of what's going on, my short-term memory, my depression, I mean, you could just imagine what kind of crap that I'm going through. I'm also fighting for things that happen, in the community because it affects me, like medication, like opioids. It's a big deal for me. If you study up on opioids, opioids are not just for feeling good and some pain. It helps with motor chemical production in your brain. It helps with uh, some other critical production of chemicals that need to happen in your brain in order for things to react normally that we take for granted every day. And when that issue arises on the news, I get very frustrated because this fentanyl issue is a big problem, and it could be solved. This fentanyl issue can definitely be addressed. Um, I know because I was working on the border, stopping some of these drugs from coming across the border, and I learned how it operates, and it's been going on for some time. People, it's been going on for some time. And there's nothing new except for the people who are addressing it now, like Trump. Trump comes on the scene, and all of a sudden, I'm not blaming him, but all of a sudden, it's a big issue. It's because he's wanting to do something about it and is actually doing something about it. So, then it becomes a bigger issue. But you come ask me, I'll tell you, hey, what's new? What is new about what's going on? Nothing. It is absolutely not a new issue. Actually, it's one of the oldest issues that have been around for such a long time. And addressing it is way far behind the eight ball. Um, is it welcome? Absolutely, it's welcome. Like I said, we're behind the eight ball already with it. It needs to create a cultural type situation to address it, and that's very difficult because you got a lot of people in the Homeland Security Border Patrol that you're either with the union or not a union, and there's a lot of legality issues, work circumstances, and credibility as far as what you can and can't do, and it's all political. So God bless Trump for at least initiating some stuff that happens. Um, but the fentanyl issue bothers me. Some of y'all know how tired you get when you are constantly battling something like a cancer, or a disease, or an issue that court issues, it's social problems that you just constantly fighting. You're fighting and you're fighting and you're fighting. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. But it's well worth the fight, and I am not going to give up. That's for damn sure. Um, and I will succeed to what I'm doing. I just need to figure out a way to really push this issue forward faster. That's what I need to do. Um, I, I do see a lot of issues. I see a lot of issues that that have usually most issues I see on TV, the news, and I think I'm with some of y'all out there. A lot of you guys are the same way. Most people that have problems just in general, usually want some sort of benefit. They want some kind of uh, you know uh, um, restitution or something. They want. For instance, we were watching the situation last night with God bless him, Tyree Nichols, where he died a couple of days later after dealing with the police. That's that um, is a very typical. I know folks don't like to hear that, but it is a very typical situation that requires more information, should I say, because um, um, being in the military, working and getting all this experience with Homeland Security and, going overseas and fighting and, have a little experience about how things operate in the law, uh, protection side. And so there's just a lot of missing information. But I think what I get concerned about is the social issue of it. Um, this is that issue is becoming uh, a a beneficial problem now. It's well, what's going to be the benefit that I receive that the mom, God bless her soul, her son has died over this police interaction, and so the black community wants some sort of justice, and nowadays is has nothing to do with very little now to do with the actual death of the individual, but what's the justice in value, right? Well, if we can't beat you on this side, let's beat you on the other side and make a point, so that way you don't, hurt the white man in the pocket, so to speak, because that's what this issue is now. It's a white man, even though they were black, it's still a white centralized society, right? That's the way the black people think. So it's bothersome, because it's not just about the white people, it's about everybody else. I get bothered by it. I'm Native American, I'm, Irish, you know, and it bothers me that, I got to, that if something happens to one part of our society, it affects everybody else. And I'm not going to abide by, just because, the pressures on one part of our race that it's going to affect other races, and here in the United States, it, for me, it's simple, you know. I think Barack Obama, I'm not a fan of Barack Obama, but Barack Obama said it best lately. The latest thing with him, I think he said it best. He said, "There's no Hispanic America. There's no Asian America. There's no Black America. There's just America. There's no. I think the way he put it was there's no Hispanic states of America. There's no Asian states of America. There's no black states of America. There's just the United States of America. And that's the way us military people see it mostly. And, with the issue with this fellow who died, there's a lot more to it, people. There's definitely a lot more to it. I'd be interested to hear watch the trial on it because, if you put one and one together. I like saying one and one. I don't know who came up with this two and two. One and one equals two, right? Um, it was a special unit that was dealing with Nichols, and special unit usually means a special situation. They're not going to go out of their way to. The special unit's not going to go out of their way to deal with a typical civilian situation. They're just not. I mean, even if they're this situation is drug dealers, whatever. They're just not going to do it. They're organized to deal with specific stuff, and so that's why they were there. So this is a special situation, and we got to find out the information on it. That's it. So, um, in the first thing that hit me that I've been dealing with is there's a lot of child molesters and 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 drug dealers that come across the border. That's the first thing that came to my mind with this guy. Yeah, he seems like he's a cool guy, and they all do, right? They look very respectable. But when you start to add up, you start to add it up, people. When you start to add it up, you get the information you need, and usually it's deceiving, right? Like the guy Nichols came from somewhere else. He settled in during the COVID era. And why did he come from that area? What's the history behind him coming from that area? He started work for FedEx. Well, he was able to get a job. It seems like he doesn't have a history of you know, criminal or something like that. And if he did, he was able to sustain the job. But doesn't mean that he's been lucky, and so maybe he is involved in some sort of child organization. He's one part of the person. Maybe fentanyl, maybe he's distributing fentanyl in a big way. um don't let the people deceive you. I've been That's one of my issues I came back with from Iraq, is that I've learned in a very harsh way that deception um, um, will kill you in a second faster than a bullet. Deception, the people's deception. I mean, I would never think that a kid would be able to, want to hurt another person, child. I mean, young. We're talking young, 6, 7, 8 years old. Um, and so you will get stabbed in the back, people. And if you're not wise and you don't follow, Barack Obama's statement of, there is no, you know, um, uh, transvestite um, states of America. There is no gay states of America. There is no, um, Mexican states of America, black states. There's only United States of America. And that's the way it should be. People should be treated across the board in that manner. And there should be standards. There should be standards to America, which most people have been living. Well, what are the standards? Well, the standards are read, write, uh, um, present yourself like an American, speak the American language, try to do the best you can to follow these standards, and that's what it is. No crime. Try to keep your head on your shoulders, go to school, work hard, do all this. Those are standard American principles, people. And if you can't abide by them, then you're going to have a problem. Okay, because there's people like me out here who, I see it every day. I see it every day. There's a lot of exploitation of black people these days, of Asian Americans these days, and they're putting them out there so they can shove it down other people's throat to try to accept them into society. But that's not following the standard. If you can't hang in, if you can't handle the heat in the kitchen, they say, then you need to get out. And if you're just not a person that is willing to put in the hard work to become a standard American, follow the standards of America, then you don't belong here. Then maybe you need to work harder. And that's what needs to happen, people. This is America. America, America, America. I have given my 85 to 90% motor dysfunction to America for that reason. And I'd be damned if I don't have opinion about, things that are going bad. People want restitution. Black people want some sort of, benefit from being slaved in America. That's wrong. Native Americans, they want their own government. That's wrong. You um, so education's good, and and following the principles of the freedom you have. Principles, people. Principles. What are the principles? Where are your principles? It's important to pass it on. You can't get it anywhere else, folks, because there is no place in this universe like the United States of America. There will never be another place like the United States of America ever. And so it's important to teach, you know, each one teach one, they say, right? And, getting a leg up isn't, you know, it isn't a standard principle just because you feel that you deserve it. Nobody deserves a damn thing. I don't deserve things that I feel like I need to have, but there are certain principles I need to follow in order to obtain some of these things, and I do the best I can. And did I earn it? Well, so most of the time people say yes, you've earned it, but I have to um, I have to do better at wanting uh, to acquire these things because of principles. So anyhow, yeah. So there's my truck situation. I think I'm gonna go winch on it. So this didn't work. I'm gonna sell that thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and get a winch uh, and see if that works. I have a some what you call some ramps that I use to put the stuff on now, but so difficult for me to get out of the truck, which I shouldn't be in, and try to move, push my legs around and you know, get up straight and balance and use my arms and do this. I mean, sheesh, it's forget about it. So, um, I'm struggling, but oh well. What are you gonna do, right? And so there's my post for the day. And I will speak to everybody again soon. I will discuss more advocating for myself and see if I can get some assistance and move forward with it. All right. So talk to y'all later once again in this stream. Yes,